James Sykes, CEO of Metal Energy, and I'd like to introduce to you what we think is one of the most exciting lithium brine stories on the market today. We call it SourceRock. It's in Northwestern Ontario. It's never been drilled, and it is just such an exciting story that I'd like to share with the world.
Okay, James, we caught up, when was it? Crikey, 3 weeks ago in Quebec City. Had a good chat then. Thought worth talking about this project. Right, lithium is the big metal of the moment in Canada. We've seen some huge valuations created, people chasing lithium. So talk us through, if you don't mind, first of all, why this change? We were talking about nickel before. You seem to be hitting on good grades, but you got to change things up. What's happened?
Nickel market's kind of in the doldrums right now. China's very slow at the moment, so the nickel demand seems to be low. And then you've got Southeast Asia that's really pumping out a lot of nickel laterites. So there's a kind of, the market seems to be pretty tame right now in the nickel space. And with the Mana Bridge project that we drilled last year, we had great results, fantastic results. Just we didn't seem to get any love in the marketplace, so it's quite unfortunate. We love Mana Bridge, we think it's great, but we knew that we really couldn't move forward with just Mana Bridge alone. So we were looking for a new project. We know lithium's hot. Lithium has a long future ahead of it. With EVs, I don't see lithium going anywhere anytime soon except for up. So we were looking for the right lithium project, and this project fell into our lap, so we fell in love with it right away.
Okay, so I guess parking nickel up until nickel market comes back. So you haven't the money spent. As you say, the results were good. That was the interesting thing. But if the market's not there, the market's not there. So, and I don't mind these kind of changes and reactions to the market if it's for good reasons. Okay, you picked up the SourceRock project. How'd you pick it up? How much did it cost? Where did it come from?
A prospector out in Northwestern Ontario. He was looking into the idea, just based on old drill results in the area where they had recorded salt and silvite in the basement rock or in the sedimentary rocks. And so the idea that a brine exists, let me back that up a bit. So even during the historic drilling there were people reporting salty waters so the drill rods would come out, the drill core would come out, and almost instantaneously they would be encrusted with salt, which indicates supersaturated solution. How do you find lithium brines? Well, you look for salty water. So it made sense. The prospector has staked a decent sized project within what he felt was the deepest part of the Sibley basin, which is a sedimentary basin over 1 billion years old. And it does have a lot of halite beds and silvite beds within it. So the right geology is there.
Okay.
He brought it to our attention. We loved it. We staked a much larger portion, 95 kilometers long, about 10 to 20 kilometers wide. So it's a huge area. We wanted to basically encapsulate the best parts of the Sibley Basin that we think are prospective for lithium brine.
Okay, so brines, usually associated with South America, Chile, Argentina, etc. In fact, most of the lithium has been, hitting the headlines recently, been sort of, pegmatite type. Lithium pegmatites, some mineralized, some not. So people are kind of used to that. How do you manage something like a lithium brine in Canada and in your province? What are you going to have to do in terms of whether it be First Nations, whether with permitting, with licensing, etc.? How do you envisage that?
We've already got permits for the project. Again, that came from the prospector, which is absolutely phenomenal. So we're drill ready. We can get out there and put drill. There are some caveats to it, but such is life. As soon as we staked the project, we had sent out introduction letters to the Indigenous groups within the area that were identified by the prospector and by the government. We've also followed up, just showing them where our project's located and all the tenements that are involved, and they've all replied back. So they're looking at doing hopefully a group consultation that we can achieve, one-stop shopping, and just meet with all the groups at the same time, and just kind of piece things out from there, see what works and what doesn't, and hopefully everything's good, and we can get on our way and put our proof of concept drill hole into the ground. What else is required? Well, it's Northwestern Ontario, so it's infrastructure's there. Great area. everything that we need. Permitting's pretty straightforward. Ontario is very mining friendly, so we know we've got a lot of backing that way. It just seems to be pretty straightforward as far as brines go. That's it works down in South America where they do evaporation, and rightfully so. We think that we could probably mimic the conditions in South America here in North America with greenhouse technology. But also you've got DLE that's being investigated by a number of companies across the globe. It's not commercially proven yet, but given human success rate for solving or proving to be innovative in solving complex issues, I don't see why DLE will not work in the future. And it's just a matter of being able to apply it to the project that we're on. So that is a potential idea for down the road. The first thing we have to do though is obviously drill. We've got drill ready targets. We know where we want to put the drill hole, and we just need a proof of concept drill hole to show that we've got lithium in the brines.
Right. Okay. So when we spoke last in January, that you spoke with Merlin, you had a couple $1 million left. You haven't really been up to much since then. It feels like how much of that money is left, and again, how are you allocating that to this proof of concept?
We haven't spent anything since January. The last of our budget was from drilling last year. We had over $2 million left in the bank by the beginning of this year. None of that was flow through, so we don't have any commitments to really drill. So that allowed us to really look for this next project, like look for the right project. So we've been kind of slow, but in the forefront we've been slow, but in the back end we've been busy looking at a lot of different projects. Now we were considering looking at the whole lithium play up in the James Bay region of Quebec. We figured that why be everyone else? We're a competent group. We like to be innovative. We like to think outside the box, and so we just took our time and looked for the right project. And like I said, SourceRock met all of that criteria, and it just really, really hit. So we've got proof of concept drill hole. It's an interesting thing because we've never done this type of drilling before. We've never done water testing, so it's a little bit of change, and there are a little bit of parameters that we're not sure how they fit into the full cost of things. But as far as budgeting goes, for a proof of concept drill hole going down 1,000 meters, I think that's too deep. I don't think we have to drill that far, but we're budgeting about $500,000 at most, which I don't think it'll be that much.
Right. Okay. So $500,000. That's for the proof of concept hole. In terms of this targeting, given you've not really gone chasing after these sorts of things before, where's the advice coming from, or where's the consultancy coming from in terms of how you go about identifying and more importantly prioritizing these sort of targets?
It's all in house. It's geology. Fortunately enough, I'm a basin geologist. I've been studying fluids and basin geometry and basin geology for the last 17 years. So I feel very confident that our group can really pull this together. One of our directors, Charles Beaudry, has been very heavily involved. Our chairman, Stephen Stewart, he's been very heavily involved. So as a group, we've been really putting this together and bouncing ideas back and forth off each other. We see what's being done in other parts of the world as far as lithium brine exploration, so it's not too difficult to mimic what's going on there as far as testing goes. So we've got everything. We're pretty confident that we've got everything right and ready to go. So it's just a matter of being able to get out there.
Right. And then, okay, I guess there's lots of data points around the world that you can refer to for sure. What do you think you need to find? Because, when you're drilling conventionally, you're looking for mineralization, and you're looking for grades, you're looking for intervals, you're looking for lots of variables which will kind of give you a sense of the economics. But something like this, where it's brines, we're talking about water tables and the like, you're going to have to, I guess, announce the market after this proof of concept hole, something around the grades. You're going to have to perhaps, it'll take a little bit longer, but, talk about any kind of deleterious elements that may or may not be in there, and get a sense of relatively quickly. I think someone used to send a question, and I used the phrase I haven't used since banking days, was you drill it to kill it. or you make something of it. So what are you looking for? What do you think you're going to be able to announce to? What are you going to have to announce to market to get people excited about this thing?
We're going to have to announce that we've got lithium in the brines, and hopefully they're going to be high concentration. The amount of salt and just the amount of sodium, potassium, magnesium, and even lithium in the rocks that we're seeing are above normal. Again, mentioning all of the salt incrustations on the drill core coming from the fluids, that means you've definitely got a brine. And knowing this area, this brine is probably saltier than the oceans. So there's a lot of, like, all the pathfinders are there. Some of the rocks down there that historic drilling have assayed for, they're coming back 200 ppm lithium. Now, I know that's not your typical pegmatite, and because I'm not talking pegmatites here, these are sedimentary rocks. So these are either detrital clasts or they're reformed clays within the sedimentary package. We're still seeing upwards of 200 ppm lithium, and over broad widths. This is not just a little sample; these are continuous samples. So we know that the sedimentary rocks carried lithium as well. And if all of these rocks have been there for billions of years, then you've had a lot of time for fluid rock interaction. Lithium likes to be in a fluid state rather than a mineral state. It's just the valence state, the whole chemistry of lithium. So it represents a very good scenario. How are we going to test for it? Well, yeah, we're going to drill. We're going to sample the water table as we go down. So each different lithology that we're into, and even multiple water samples from those different lithologies, we're going to build a nice big repertoire database from this proof of concept drill hole and see which I guess reservoir has the most lithium brine to it. And we do believe so. Again, just looking at brines, and one conceptual idea is that sodium is heavy, potassium's heavy, lithium's light. So it's possible to have these stratified brine intervals, and we're hoping that we do have a nice concentrated lithium brine interval.
Right, because you talk about being an expert in basins. Obviously, with base load, you're that's a big part of what your philosophy is and theory is. Here, when you're sort of chasing that lithium and understanding sodium's heavier than lithium, how do you go about identifying these basins? And do you kind of like step down, or is it a case of let's just find how many basins there are, and we'll kind of work out how we come at each one eventually? Or is there an imperative now, given size of the company, cash available, to actually sort of knock it out of the park with the kind of the proof of concept component, and then come back to, once you've raised money, presumably later this year, you come back to going about it in a more systematic way? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
That's the exploration model. That's junior exploration. You always want to knock it out of the park. You pick your best targets first. You pick your projects that you think are going to deliver the best returns to the market, to the investors. So that's what we think we've got here with this project. Our targets look great. They look like they would be hitting the thickest sedimentary sequence. Man, it's a tongue twister on that one. Seashells, I can't even do that one. But yeah, the thickest part of the sedimentary sequence we've got in our project, right by, or we're proximal, or we actually have the controlling fault on the project as well, which we think will also help drive the whole process, the whole information process. Which, yeah, proof of concept drill hole, we're hoping is a big knockout of the park. And if it does prove to be successful, we're like a 5 million market cap company right now. You have a lot of lithium explorers globally, especially companies that just came into James Bay region who had very similar market caps. They say they've staked in James Bay. Next thing you know, they're up to 50 million, 100 million market cap companies without doing any work. If we're successful on our proof of concept, I can envision the same thing. That's a 20x return from where we are now. We can hit 100 million market cap. So if this proof of concept drill hole works, this can be a huge investment opportunity for, a great, huge success for investors, huge success for the company, and we think we would have a lot of bigger companies looking in on us.
Okay,
lots of potential.
Lots of potential. Everyone's got potential until they've delivered, right? So I guess the only question left is timing on all this? When's this hole going in, and when do you actually get back with results?
Yeah, it's actually two questions, but just to be a smart aleck on the day. So I guess because we are permitted, we are looking to be drilling by the end of December at the very latest. We're hoping that we can be drilling much sooner than that. Now, we do have a 4-week notice that we have to provide to the government and to the Indigenous communities prior to any mobilization. So after consultation is done, and hopefully everything goes well with consultation, then we can give 4 weeks notice. However, we do also have another stipulation within our permit is that there's an exclusion period within the area for diamond drilling and exploration from September 1st to November 30th. That's 3 months, and that's due to moose hunting season. No, that's fine. But we'll talk with the Indigenous groups and see if we can get a drill in there too. It's really up to them. And if they approve it, then we can be drilling anywhere from September to November. If not, then yeah, we've got December, and still by the end of this year, we should be good. Turnaround time to results, I've seen anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks as being good estimates for water samples being returned for total dissolved solid results. So I think that's, even if we're drilling in December, we could be having results just as early as January 2024, if not sooner, if we can get things expedited right before Christmas. It would be a great Christmas gift for everybody. But the last big question that does need to be answered, and the very simple one, is there lithium in the brines? That's it. That's all we need to know. Everything else is there. Every single attribute that we are looking for, that any other company would be looking for from a lithium brine perspective, are all answered, except for is there lithium in the brine, because nobody's ever sampled.
Well, there you go. There's all the questions. You're asking them. I'm asking them. That's the only one I think people will care about. Look, James, thanks for coming on and telling us a little bit about the plan, and we'll just sit back and wait to see what happens with that proof of concept hole. And then pick up the phone when you know. Thank you.
Absolutely.